redo, let's introduce these players. Spawning down here in the bottom position for Good Game Gaming. Give it up for Dream. And his opponent, also for Good Game Gaming. Looking at you, Patience. Okay, so the big story of Lightshade in a TVP. Rocks, rocks, rocks. And the reason that is the big Q here, because you can see there's a lot of very narrow choke points where siege tank fire, siege tank pushes can be quite powerful. Looks like Patience doesn't want to get that far, as we do have that pylon going on down right outside of Dream's third, low ground third, that is. And, you know, I think this is just going to be a very aggressive Stargate. We've seen Void Rays be so popular these days on the ladder. And, you know, if you've ever had to play against them, you know what a nuisance they are. Funnily enough, I did see Dream literally just yesterday morning play against this exact same thing versus, I think it was Stats in a best of one for the BJ Destruction League. And while it looked a little bit dicey for him, he was able to hold on. Just have to get up that cyclone count nice and crisply. Okay, it was Trap. Thank you. I should remember that. I was the one casting it, but you know. Yeah, here we go. Just going to come in here with that first couple of units. Already getting 2 workers for his trouble before that bunker go down. You know, the first Void Ray going to be coming out. The Adept doing what it can to kind of shade around. The wall is down because he needs to be able to reinforce the front position. But there you go. The supply depot coming on in. And now it's a game of cat and mouse. You don't want to move too far forward with this first Void Ray before the shield batteries are done. But with this aggressive positioning on him, he can actually get right on top of here and deny that marine count for as long as he possibly wants. Now, honestly, I don't really like the response from Dream so far. He's going into Widow Mines, which can be good, but remember, these are very tanky units. You can just get the shield batteries down. Actually, looking over here, beautiful run by Dream. Going to get 5 worker kills. Getting back to my point, Widow Mines are very one-off units. I think he would have been a little bit better just getting that cyclone count. And going from there, Macfield Accelerator is an absolute god tier upgrade versus this. Viking's not really that useful, but a very nice Widow Mine. He might be proving me wrong. So Stream's still in a little bit of trouble, but as that unit count starts to kind of rise, we see Patience getting a little bit impatient, sending a lot of these units up the ramp outside of that kind of safe range. He does force the Cyclone to lock onto that, however, so that's going to slow down the lock on the Void Rays. But still, Patience has this little bit of a timer in order to finish this one out. And again, he gets a little bit impatient, going outside of that shield battle range, loses another Void Ray and a ton of those Stalkers. My goodness, that was not the best location for him to go in, and GG is called. Kind of funny to say. I think if he would have just kind of kept Dream down a little bit more, not gone in so aggressively, that would have been better off for him, because he could have easily transitioned out of that. But, you know, not living up to his name of Patience. I'm not ragging on him, by the way. Obviously, Patience is a fantastic player. Just played that one a little bit too on the nose. Bad. Looks like we're getting the invitation in to Romanticide. The Profundus, the better proxy location, is on the ramps in the middle of the map. That's true. Since we got a lot of questions here, we're doing the live matches first. So we are in the games right now with these players. And then right afterwards, after we get those first 3 matches out of the way, that's when we're going to be doing the replay matches. The reason we're doing it this way, I know it's a little bit unorthodox, is so just so these players don't have to wait too long. And, yeah, speaking of not having to wait too long, spawning down here in the bottom location. Give it up for Good Game Gaming's Dream. And his opponents up here in the top. Give it up for Good Game Gaming's Patience. So obviously, let's talk about Romanticide just a little bit. There's been some, not necessarily changes to this map, but there are some changes into the way players have been going about it. For Protoss players and Zerg players especially, we have seen them kind of take this lower ground expansion just a little bit more often, because it's a lot safer than trying to open up this location early on, because once you open up that, it means that the Terran player, who usually by the mid game has a very mobile army, has 2 locations where they can necessarily jump between and just rotate around and really just give you a run for your money. So that's why a lot of players have been taking that lower ground expansion. And, you know, it works to a varying degree depending on who you're playing against. I think Patience, his biggest problem is that he tends to fall apart just a little bit to these aggressive Terran players. Because, kind of taking a look at some of the players that he loses to: Bunny, Beyun, Dream, Cure. He's not losing because he's bad. He's just losing because he never really can keep his footing as the Terran player kind of runs around. And we saw the Hellions, like in that last game, that one run by getting 5 worker kills, denying a lot of mining time. He got impatient and just pounced on a waiting Dream. And so I think he just has to play this one, I'd say, a little bit more, no pun intended, patiently. Yeah, a lot of discussion about some of these build orders. Remember, these smaller tournaments are actually like a proving ground for builds that you wouldn't necessarily see on ladder or in such premier tournaments. And the reason for that is it's, you know, very low risk. If you lose, hey, you're out maybe $20, $30. And so you kind of just have all this different rooms to breathe when trying things out. So they experiment a little bit. They try and play the mind game as well. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. We do see the fake Oracle moving around. It is Blink into that robo facility. And Dream going for a very aggressive pressure right now. No shield battery available to save these Stalkers, but he does have quite a few of them. The Hellions rotating around, looking for those probe stack-ups, and they will find it. Already 7 going down. The medevac is positioned so that he can get out of there with a good majority of those units. And already a beautiful start for Dream. That is definitely a trade that I will take all day. Looks like we are ready for the Stream Raiders battle right after this, so make sure you have your units down, as we're going to be racing our way through that chessboard. Now, Dream, he's kind of recognized that this is that Blink play, so he's going to be a little bit more defensive, I think. Even though he hasn't seen it, obviously, you see that many Stalkers, you're expecting some sort of aggression. Patience kind of playing off that fear, though, going straight up to Colossus Tech. And now, kind of taking a look at what Dream's going for, he's still very heavy into that Marine production. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be a Marine going up against laser giraffes anytime soon, just because that AoE is so detrimental to their health. Dream setting himself up on that third base location as well. I've kind of noticed that one big shift in the last month or so is that Terran players haven't been pushing as their third base goes down anymore. And that was I thought that was a pretty normal thing to do, is to move out when you're throwing down that base, just to make sure that there's no pressure coming your way, putting a little bit of pressure on your opponent instead, just making sure that, you know, if he's moving across the map, he's going to get punished for it. But on the other side of things, you know, Patience, he's just going to be teching up. He's got the second Forge coming in for his +2 and the Dark Shrine as well. Just, this isn't a win behind Dark Shrine. This is a win when you're there, go ahead. Dark Shrine. I'm sure that we will be getting Ragnarok out pretty soon, guys. So don't worry, all you Ragnarok fans. He's hanging out. He's ready to go. Just got to get these series going on. But kind of take a look at the supply for both sides. Looks like Dream is just steamrolling his way forward. He's getting the Ghost Academy as well. So he's getting the transition in. Not going to leave anything to chance. Yeah, I kind of like this little bit of a switch here from Patience. Just going into the Disruptors is very good for the for dealing with those ghosts, because it means they can't really get too close. And that means the EMPs aren't going to be able to land when he does decide to go up to, you know, Archons. Yep, the matches are cast one by one. Hurrah, hurrah. Almost a full energy Raven, so keep an eye on that. See if he can get the cut downs there. We do have a small run by going into Dream's main. He's not paying attention, so a big disruptor hit going down right there, catching a lot of his units with the force fields. Those TTs actually going completely unabated as well. We did see something coming up down there, but I think a defensive warp-in is enough to shut that down. Dream looking for damage where he can find it, but he's going to have to rotate around to this fourth base. You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing the Defiler, but I think the Infestor kind of fulfills the same role now that it has Microbial Shroud. But you know, there's always a big what if as to what unit can come in, but hold that thought as Dream moving in. Patient's going to be able to push this back as there's not really that much tech here for Dream. It's going to be completely forced back as he takes his fourth base over here on the safer side of things. Dream, or Patience rather, has to be careful not to go too far forward. Nice. So now Dream kind of threw away his lead just a little bit. I don't want to say he's behind by any stretch of the imagination, because kind of taking a look at this, the trades are relatively equal, about 900 supply difference, but you can kind of see that it's that probe count where the difference is being made. He's getting more of the economy of Patience taken down. We do see as well, he's setting up for that double prong. Patience does have a lot of units in both locations. So many disruptors right here. Gonna get rid of those Widow Mines. Forcing the retreat and the hot pickup. Loses some of the Stalkers. Oh my god. Now Dream gonna be finding this little position where he can come in. That Widow Mine just waiting to go off. Big Dorito Cannon going down. That wasn't really that much of a fight. The Stalkers did try to get on top of that fourth base, linking on top of this army, but some good connections with the Laser Giraffes in the back. And now Dream's going to be bringing his army together, looking to kind of force the fight. He does get a pretty good surround here for a lot of these units, but the Colossus are forced far enough back, and there are enough Stalkers to help out. And now Dream is going to be the one getting surrounded, as the Stalkers are forced to be blinked back. Disruptors pushing their way forward, forcing Dream back. And now it's a fight for Dream's life. He still has plenty of Marauders with this army, but Patience does have that supply lead. Getting a lot of these medevacs is pretty vital as well. EMP is going to be blanketing the Stalkers in the front. This is kind of a game of who can surround who the most, as the Disruptors are going to ensure that Patience can retreat from this location. Dream wants to make it painful for him, but he's only making it painful on himself. Beautiful connection right there. And Patience going to be able to press his way forward. I think from here, we are going to be going to a game number 3. Dream, though, going to be having one valiant last stand on this planetary as that goes down. Dream is just down way too much. 50 supply at this point. And I think it's just kind of a matter of when he decides to tap out. He thinks that he can still do something versus this army. But losing all of these SCVs is torture. Yeah, there you go. GG is called. And so we do have that map number 3 coming on up. You know what? Before that begins, we do have a very special battle coming on in. So let's get this underway. We have 32 units being dropped out there. Looks like PH neutral dropping the most. Sushi, you have been decrowned in most units going down. Let's see what we got here. I'm just going to bring that down. A good little setup here. We're going to be flanking them. It looks like they are all set up here in the middle. Quality, not quantity. All right, I see you, Mr. Big Money. Let's get this battle going. Looks like Sushi is going to be battling his way forward while Neutral bringing up the rear, taking down that Dark Knight. Uttendorf getting 5 kills off the back, only losing one of those units. The Light Knight going down, and that's going to be the end of that battle. Hype in the chat. Let's hop up there. Looks like we got a Buster unit. So I think, you know what, Uttendorf's, he's earned that one. Confirm that selection. Excuse me 1 second, guys. You know what, with that, I'm going to get the next battle started. That's going to get us into a silver chest with a moderate difficulty, so get that going, guys. Flag bearer, you're going to lead the front. And without further ado, spawning up here in the top position of Oxide. Give it up for our Red Terran player, Dream. And his opponent hanging out in the bottom. Let's see what he can do versus a very aggressive player. Give it up for Patience. All right, so Dream. He's going to be getting the Reaper. Going to play this one a little bit more safe on the scouting front. With that Reaper, you did get that kind of confirmation of what Patience is deciding to do. So far, we've seen both of the Protoss players that we've brought out tonight just be a little bit more aggressive, getting that Twilight Council down, and in Patience's case, doing that little bit of a failed proxy build. Now, these guys are teammates, so they know almost all of the different moves that are going down. So there's nothing that you can really hide in terms of that kind of metagame, freak out mind game situation. So a lot of times you do have to play it a little bit more straight up than I would say that they have been doing. Dream going to be dropping that bunker as well, just to be a little bit more of that nuisance. Looks like the Stalker will come out in time, but he's going to be chasing the Reaper, meaning that bunker will actually go up. 3 workers already going down. Rip. And you can see just instantly as that Reaper dies, the bunker is canceled. And the SCV does go home. So what that opens the door to for Patience is this little bit of a window where he can kind of poke. We see Dream a little bit of a cut corners type of player right now. He did skip the bunker going down in the front, but the Widowmine does get a good connection on that first Stalker, so that will die. I gotta say, in this situation, I think skipping the bunker could be a better choice, because that allows you to get the medevacs out. It allows you to get a couple of more Widowmines down. And yeah, he is able to deflect this quite handily. Stalker going home with its tail between its legs. Widowmine's heading on in, but there already is that observer on the way with Blink. How many gateways is he going up to? So far the answer is 3. So that can be viewed as a much safer option. The Widowmine just going to drop at the top of the ramp. Patience not pulling his probes. Patience loses 10 probes right there. Not as bad as it could be, but still, you gotta wonder what's going through his mind on that one. He pretty much saw that coming. His Stalkers were already coming up the ramp, but since they didn't have Blink, they had to make that difficult decision as to whether they would fight that Widowmine up there, or just sacrifice one. And that's where Dream excels, is forcing him to make that difficult decision. It looks like Patience does want to get a little bit of a counterattack going, though. Let's see what he can get done. There's not really that much splash here for Dream. So yeah, there's still a good possibility. Widowmine's coming back in for another pass, but this time Patience is fully aware. A couple of SCVs pulled up to the main base. Did he lose a Stalker? I think the answer is no. Still hanging out, though. Good blink into the main base, sees those Widowmines popping, and will deny a little bit of mining time. Looks like the Widowmines did get in and get a couple of additional kills, but he will lose one of the Stalkers to the Widowmines. Good trades. It does take four Stalkers to one-shot the SCVs, and now there is a good Marauder count, so he does kind of sacrifice these Stalkers. Okay. 7 SCVs, maybe. Worth it, rather. But now, Patience does have his third base up and mining. It looks like there's a little bit of a supply block here from Dream, but that's not really going to be able to slow him down. In terms of the unit count, we only have that one Colossus as well, so he's really forced to rely on the force fields to catch these units out. But unfortunately, he doesn't get them off. Looks like at the very last second, he gets the last one, but there's still enough in the front to clean up the sentries. No shield batteries either. The Colossus not filing away. So as the last force field falls, I think Patience might just be dead here. Yeah, losing both of these Colossus. Might want to Corona boost that one out, but there is no way that's getting out in time. GG is called. And